Feliz Navidad, Prospero Anoy, Feliz Vidad. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you in advance. Always thank you. I must commend everyone who comes to see my video, that shares, that like and comment, and for the new viewers who subscribe, who take out time to subscribe. Thank you very much. I thank you very much for staying true to my channel and for encouraging me every time I drop content. It has been an amazing journey. Trust me, it has been an amazing journey. And I'll be here. You will keep coming, and you'll keep getting premium content from me. Thank you once again. And if you are just seeing my video, I really need you to click on the subscribe button so you get notified whenever I drop juicy content and, of course, premium content. Basically, here what we do is we review movies that are reviewable, that are review worthy, movies in the cinema, movies on streaming platforms like Netflix, Prime Videos, and what's not, And it is always a journey. It is always a journey. Sometimes this year, I made a vow, promise that my reviews are going to be a lot more spontaneous, and I think it has been a journey. It has been a journey. It has been a journey that has not been easy, but trust me, it is a good one. It is a good one. So, and I promised that I was going to be dropping reviews of movies and that are coming out in the cinema this festive period, and I've dropped Everybody Loves Jennifer by Funka Kindeli and Tunde Olaoye, and I've dropped the review of Alakada Bad and Buji by Tony Abraham and directed by Adebayo Tijani, and it has been an amazing one. I made sure I was a little bit fair in my opinion. Everything is my opinion, and I think I'm entitled to my opinion due to my experience in filmmaking and in critical thinking. And I think, if everybody's going to agree with me, I tried as much as possible to point out the things that is the strength of the movie and also the weakness of the movie. And that is what we really do. And we do not review just to spoil people's projects. We review so that probably if they see it or if other filmmakers see it, or as an audience, they tend to see the strength of the movie and tend to see the weakness of the movie, and peradventure the producers or the producers of the film sees it, they will be able to probably in their next project they'll be able to put it in consideration what we feel like a lack, or we feel like a weakness from the previous movie. So that is it. Thank you very much for staying tuned. So today, without so much further ado, we'll be reviewing the movie Thin Line by AIGBE. Now, this is our second cinema production, so to say. So, and she has been doing fantastic, and I think it is review worthy based on the fact that she has put in herself there, and I must say it is not an easy thing. It has not been an easy task for her to be at head to head with the other two women that has been in the game in the last 3 or 4 years, and she's not doing any less. And I think it is okay that we review the movie. So Thin Line, as produced by AIGBE. Let's get right into the synopsis. Thin Line, the movie, tells us a story of Pastor Raymond Njoku and his wife, Damilola Njoku. Pastor Raymond Njoku is a charismatic leader who finds himself entangled in a web of sin after a chance encounter with an escort named Annie. When Annie is found murdered, Raymond's life begins to unravel, and he must confront his own humanity and then the consequences of his action. First, I really need to commend AIGBE for putting this out. As I've said earlier, it is not an easy thing to do a high budget film, because if you would ask me, putting film in a cinema standard, it's not a child's play, and a lot of things go down in bringing this kind of production. Trust me, in bringing this kind of production, the whole setup, the whole scripting, the whole production at large, it is not an easy task, because I've been privileged to witness some of this large scale production, and I must say that it takes a lot of sweat, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of brainstorming, it takes a lot of execution and process. And I'm not going to deny the fact that it takes a lot of courage to know what is involved and then want to venture into it. It is not an easy task. And I think what Messi AIGBE is trying to do, I might be wrong, is because, I think I studied this from a last production, Adam Madadi. She wants to tell simple story in a big screen, which is not a bad one. One thing I think I like, and I must commend her for, is as much as she's telling a simple story, she still want to tell it in a very well paced, manner. This is not like an old story. These are stories that we've seen countless times. These are stories that we see often. If you would ask me, Adam Dad is not a story we've not seen before. To be very frantic, Adam Dad is not a story we've not seen before. Well, when I was watching this movie with someone, I told the person that one thing that I like about Adam Daddy was the fact that a 2 hours movie, it was a paced movie in the same direction. There are times that some producers will produce movie, and one way they might start well, and along the line the pace dropped, but it was an exception for Adam Madadi. She made sure the energy that she took from the beginning did not lack or did not slack at a point, and it was the same energy that she took from the beginning, and she maintained it to the end, although it had a lot of flop. The from the cast, and from the cast basically. I think I had issues with the main cast, Tayo Fanuel. I think it didn't deliver his quota well, and I had issue with it. And I think this is what she has been doing in her movies. Trust me, and this is not an exception. In this thin line, it's a simple story that we've seen countless times, but she made sure that the pace that she starts with, she ends with it. And trust me, so many experienced producers, so to say, do not know how to do this, because I've seen a lot of producers do movie with a great and fantastic storyline, and along the line we get bored, we get underwhelming, or we get underwhelmed in the process. But I think she has done it twice, that she tells simple story, but she tells it in a well-paced manner. I think she must be commended for that. I think I like what she was trying to tell with the sexual escort part. In every Nollywood movie that we've seen, it is always painted that most sexual escorts are broke, they are unlearned, they are not well to do. But in the actual sense, I would not deny the fact that there are lots of sexual escorts in the streets that are broke, that don't have a lot of things to do. But in this movie, she painted it in such a way, which is the reality. If you would ask me, it's a reality that a lot of sexual escorts have houses, have good cars, are living a good life. And I think the way she did it, I think I liked it, because in the actual sense, most of these people, if and the questions like this get to be raised, if these people are living well, why can't they leave the job for another thing that is like tangible? And I think most of the excuses they have is, this is the job that they started with, and this is the job that can maintain the lifestyle they've ventured into, and that's the reason why they cannot just change the lifestyle all of a sudden. And I think she tried it. I don't think I've seen any producer do that. She painted the whole sexual escort thing in a different dimension, which I like. And I think it is very sad that in this country and in this age that we are, the actors determine the success, the fame of the actor, or the social media presence of an actor determines the success of a film. It is not completely a bad one, but I think it is not a fair one to determine the success of the film, especially if the film is a good one, has a better storyline. Because trust me, this thin line of a movie is a great one. But I think I was talking to someone sometimes last week that I saw this movie, and I said the reason why this film is not making the wave is because of the kind of actors that are on this film. You would agree with me that most of the cast of this film are YouTube faces, so to say. Come to speak of UZOR ARUKWE. UZOR ARUKWE did well in the cinema last year, especially with his performance in Tribe Called Judah. And he still doesn't change the fact that he's not completely into it's not it cannot be categorized as a cinema face. Likewise, UCHE Montana, you won't completely call them a cinema face. And I think it's affecting the movie, especially when they are not pushing the movie. This movie is meant to be on the lips of a lot of people, but this movie is lagging because she has not used Mercy Aigbe, I'm speaking of Mercy Aigbe, has not used the face that is bankable, so to say, the face that is bankable for cinema projects. And I think it is not fair on the movie side. It might be fair on the audience side because we just want to see faces that we are acquainted to, and we just want to see movies that our faves are in. And trust me, it is not a fair one. I think, I must put this there. This movie is not doing well because the actors in it are not pushing it well, and the faces that was used in the movie are not are not cinema faces, and I think it's not fair on the movie. As much as this film was a great one, I really love it. I really love it because it compared to the other two women that gave us good movies this year. You know, they tilted towards the comedy part, and Messi decided to give us something serious, which is as much as it was meant to be simple. I really wish the movie took another turn. I was this script has a good potential, which I really like. It has a good potential, and I wished you know, and I wished it took a different turn compared to the turn that the movie took. At the stance that I was watching this film, I was really open. I had like, as a scriptwriter, I had an initiative that okay, it would have been better if the story took this turn. It would have been better if it took another turn too. But unfortunately, it took the turn that the movie producer wanted it to take, which is not completely bad. But I just personally feel that it could have taken another turn to create a better landing. Personally, I feel this movie doesn't have a better landing. As much as they were trying to maneuver it not to look like the normal film that we've seen before, it still landed like a mediocrity, which really turned me off at the last few scenes of this movie. 5 minutes into this movie, no, I wouldn't even say 5 minutes. I would say 15 minutes. We were introduced to Uche Montana Annie, which is the main character of this movie, and she was saying like five scenes, and I was asking myself, that was like the first major problem that I had with the story of this film, probably the story and the storytelling, because a scriptwriter can write a story and the screenplay can develop it, or the developer of the film can develop the story to make it better. But I think I have issue with the fact that the character Annie was not well developed. Questions like who is Annie? I think it was very necessary of the filmmaker or the producer of this film to introduce us to the elementary or the basic introduction of the main character Annie. Annie was just shown to us as a female escort who is like a top-notch female escort going about her business of the day, and questions like who is this girl? Where is she from? We do not even have a basic knowledge of Annie, which really put me off the balance when I was watching this film, and that was the first major mistake I saw in this movie. If we were trying to be taken on a journey, I expected the producer or the storyteller of this film to take us on a journey that okay, this is where this girl is coming from, based on the fact that it would have made sense if such foundation was not made on like a subcast or like a supporting cast. But this, for God's sake, the Annie was the major cast, and we needed an element of the foundation of who she was, which was lost on the film. And I think that's like the first mistake that I noticed in the film. So moving forward, Annie going about her daily thing at daily work, and we were made to see that she has been stalking a particular pastor, which is like the sub major character. And what I expected, or what a lot of viewers, a lot of audience would have expected, that it was a revenge mission. But why the question? I think my major concerns of this movie, or of this particular video, is going to come as questions, because it would have been better if most of these things were put into consideration. Why was the pastor the target? It would have made more sense if it was a revenge mission. Probably the pastor, when he was at his youthful days, did something to Annie, or did something to Annie's spirit. But there was nothing of such. It was just like a natural obsession, which does not make a lot of sense to me, because why would you be obsessed emphatically obsessed with someone for no reason. The first scene we were introduced to Annie watching the life, like Instagram life of the pastor, and I was summering in my mind that okay, this is like a revenge mission. Probably she was sent. She was sent to take the man down, but there was nothing of such in the movie. And I was asking myself, why was it the target? I feel the major reason why it was the target is not far-fetched. It's not so cogent. It's not so important as it was painted. And because she went ahead from where she stole the money from the chief, she went ahead and she crossed paths with the pastor where she went. It was as if the old drugging of a thing, the old drugging of the pastor's drink was like a preconceived notion, which was not so. How would you come along with a lacing drug when it was not as if you had the plans, or you already knew it was coming for that event? It still do not make any sense to me, because it would have made sense if she was on a mission, either on a revenge mission, or either on a secret agent mission. But this would have made more sense to me, honestly. And I feel it's a lag from their end. I think another question that will be raised in the minds of all of viewers is, what is a renowned pastor doing in a regular place? And if at all he was to go there for a conference in a very regular, for a pastor who create almost 12K views on Instagram, as we know that having almost 1K views on Instagram live is practically for like the celeb, and it was painted that we always have like almost 12K views on his Instagram live, which brings us to the conclusion that this pastor must be a very well-known pastor in the society. It was painted to be like that. So if such pastor is at all for no reason coming to a public space, it should come with either escort or a lot of security personnel to have meeting, and there should be a lot of protocols in place, not now getting to sit close to a sexual escort or a lady that he does not really know, without the security, without a personnel, without a protocol around him. I think the producers should make it make sense. I understand the fact that they are trying to find a way to get balance in the story writing, the script, but I feel like it should have been diverted in another way. It should have been done in another way for the Annie, the sexual escort, to get to him, not that way around. It was a little bit of a joke to me, because a well-known pastor will not just sit in that kind of settings without at all two security personnel. It was a lag from their end, that they brought in a pastor to come to a bar to have a drink where alcohol is being sold without a personal security or without a protocol. It is like a lag from them. I think they didn't think it through before executing such sin. I'm trying to paint a scenario. When Annie died, a lot of people she has had encounter with was brought in for investigation, and questions like these would necessarily sum up in the audience mind, that how did they get to know people that she had encounter with? How did they get to know their house, especially ranging from Italy, the old man? Like they should make him make sense. How the girl encounter with a lot of people that she's met with, and to now suspect it with them. And I think the whole essence of bringing them to for question, especially in this kind of settings that we are in, does not make any sense to me. It still makes sense to go and investigate the pastor, because his wedding band was seen in the scene where Annie was, and a lot of people saw him or the neighbors saw him when he was going in and coming out of Annie's residence, which makes sense why they can just bring the pastor for question. But what about the other two men that she had encounter with in the last weeks and months? I think it's not far-fetched, and it is not reasonable enough for them to be brought into the picture. I understand the fact there's always an excuse for them, but I feel it's not genuine enough to to bring this thing into consideration, because if we're trying to build a script, we should bring it, you should build it to no fault. I think it's a fault that they were trying to bring other people that she has had encounter with. If I thought they were trying to bring other people that she's had encounter with, they should have brought other people that was not shown even in the movie. And I think it is not, because she's a sexual escort and she must have had encounter with a lot of people and not just those other two aside the pastor. And I feel like it is not necessary to bring them in. It was even fake. That's the actual word. It was even fake to bring them in. It is not reasonable. It's not technical. It's not critical enough to bring them in. This is 21st century, and tattoos and all this body art does not quantify how bad someone is, and that is the truth. And if you are told you want to paint a picture of a bad person or picture of a rascal person, I think there's a way you can paint it rather than having on fake tattoos. The tattoos on Iteles body was completely unnecessary because it was screaming fake. Even the blind could see that this is done by all these Hausa art body makers, and it was too fake in my own opinion. He's not someone that we don't know. If it was to be someone, an unknown face, is not so known face, it would have made more sense that okay, we're trying to paint a picture of someone who has a lot of body art and tattoos, and it was to show that this person is a very bad boy. It was to paint that this person is a bad boy, but Italy is a known person and we know it does not have that kind of tattoo. And if at all, it could have been more edited to look like a real tattoo, or probably make it computer generated. I think technology has gotten to an extent where we can do anything with everything or with anything. So I feel like it was a slack from the end, and they should have done better. One of the things that baffles me is the duration of the meeting of Pastor Njoku and Annie, because it was portrayed that after the meeting, it was just 2 days that he left the meeting and went back to his wife, and with a changed mood, with different mood that he is normally known for. And after a few days, he confessed to his wife that okay, he has already lived with someone, he had already lived with a woman, and all of a sudden, after a few days, we just realized that Annie is saying she's pregnant. And it brings me to the question of what duration is this whole thing that resulted into announcing pregnancy? I just felt like it was not properly thought of. And if you would ask me, I felt like pregnancy shouldn't have been in the case. And if I thought pregnancy was to be in the case, they should have stated or made us, the viewers and audience, know that okay, there was a space of time, because it was painted like the blackmailing started after like 2 days or a week after, and I don't think anybody can get to be pregnant within a week, if I'm not mistaken. And it is very possible that the pregnancy can come in, but it should have been made clearer that this whole thing was already being prolonged, and not that after just 2 days that it was now warranted to confess. It still did not make any sense to me. Trust me, it does not make any sense, and I found that very, very, very offensive. I honestly believe that the last scene, the last comic relief, was not necessary, because the whole emotions were being built, and everybody in the cinema would attest to that they built up the whole emotion, they built up the whole climax, and everybody was feeling it. And to water it down with that last scene of another sex escort coming to visit Pastor Njoku, it's not far-fetched. It's not necessary in my own opinion, because they should have just left it with the high emotions and let people feel the emotions and just walk out of the cinema sober and just leave it that way. But the whole comic relief of the last part wasn't necessary in my own opinion. It was not necessary, because if it was intended to be for comic, then the comic was not there, because I could read the reactions of people and they were like, this is not necessary, and that is it for me. This movie is a great one. It has a good cinematography, it has a good color grading. I love the sharpness of the color grading, and it was not rowdy. I love the fact that the set was not rowdy. Everybody on this movie set had their function, had their role to play, and there was no too much extra that would have caused um direction or caused a lot of confusion on set, and I think I like it that way. So that was it on the review of Thin Line, the movie produced by Messi AIGBE. I really hope you enjoy this review, and kindly drop your comments, kindly drop your opinion about this review, if you support and if you disagree. Thank you very much. So many more to bring to your screen this time. We still have the best movie in 2024, and we still have the weak movies in 2024, and we still have other movies like The Waiter and whatnot to bring to your screen this time. So Merry Christmas once again and Happy New Year in advance. See you soon.